Oh hi, thanks for watching my video. So every now and again I like to give the spotlight to one character in particular and make a little video about their story, and today we're talking about the greedy, filthy rich business tycoon that is Malcolm Landgrab. So buckle up, strap on your strap-ons and sit down. The first time we meet the now infamous Malcolm Landgrab wasn't actually in The Sims. No, it was in SimCity 3000 back in 1999. He was a wealthy businessman even back then, although he did look quite different to the Malcolm we know and love today. He would mainly just pop up on occasions with building planning suggestions. Malcolm hit our screens again with The Sims 1 on console if you played the Get a Life mode. You'll be pleased to know that there was some consistency with his story. Still working in the real estate business, although semi-retired, he does still dabble in home renovations. The Sim that you'll play as in Get a Life will live at home with their mum, a Sim that is affectionately named Mom. God, it sounds weird when I say it. And big boy Malcolm actually plays quite a big role in this game. He catches Mom's eye and they get hitched, and just like that, Malcolm Moneybags Landgrab is your brand new daddy. Given that Malcolm is still heavily involved in real estate, he'll be asking you to help him out with various projects for his business. You'll also get better acquainted with his children, spoilt brat Mimi and lazy party-loving Dudley Landgrab, and your Sim will even end up moving in with one of them, depending on your Sim's gender. Female Sims will move in with Mimi, and male Sims will live with Dudley. I feel like many Sims have a period of time where they're in their heyday. The Lothario and Pleasance families' heyday was in The Sims 2, for example. And for Malcolm Landgrab, I think The Sims 1 series was where he had the most attention. I say series because Malcolm returned for another big role in The Sims Bustin' Out, another story-based game whereby your Sim has to go around helping others by progressing in each career and giving them money. Why do they need money, you ask? Because the greedy Malcolm Landgrab owns all of the properties and is demanding his rent. I assume he has recently acquired these properties and raised the rent price, because turns out none of the Sims can afford it. Malcolm goes around repossessing the Sims' stuff until their debt is paid. In this game we also find out that Mom has divorced Malcolm. But don't worry, you'll still be able to see your step-siblings, because Mimi and Dudley Landgrab make a return in Bustin' Out as well. Malcolm only makes an appearance in the console version of The Sims 1, however there are a few references to the Landgrab family in the PC version. For example, there's a souvenir object and a painting that both include Admiral Landgrab, a presumed distant relative. And then came The Sims 2. And in this game there was a Malcolm Landgrab, but not the bloke we've known up until now. Malcolm Landgrab IV was introduced with The Sims 2 open for business. He lives in Bluewater Village, a town owned by the Landgrab family. This Malcolm is unemployed, but he owns a couple of businesses in that area, so he's doing okay. By this point, Landgrab Industries have clearly branched far and wide because multiple lots are now owned by the family, including Landgrab House, which is located in Sim State University, plus some of the businesses in Bluewater Village, and they are the masterminds behind the secret society. In terms of how Sims 2 Malcolm is related to OG Malcolm, there are several Landgrab family trees online. However, this one is the one that I think is the most accurate. So it looks like Malcolm Landgrab IV is a very distant relative to the OG Malcolm Landgrab. As a side note for The Sims 2, I thought I'd also mention that there is a pop-up for the fast food career that includes a reference to Mimi Landgrab. And by the sounds of it, she hasn't grown out of her spoilt brat ways. Let's move on to The Sims 3, where there's a bit more action. Now, this game was set 25 years before The Sims 1 and 50 years ahead of The Sims 2. However, the timeline for Malcolm isn't really that clear. Malcolm was in The Sims 1 on console, which doesn't specify a timeline, and he is clearly older than The Sims 1 PC characters like Bella and Mortimer Goth. Yet he appears as a child in The Sims 3, the same as them, suggesting that they're all the same age in this timeline. So maybe Sims 1 on console was set further in the future than The Sims 1 on PC. Malcolm lives in the world of Sunset Valley with his parents, Jeffrey and Nancy Landgrab. Sunset Valley was the original Pleasant View, founded by the Goth and Landgrab family to be a quiet, peaceful town. But then, the Altos moved in and wanted to modernise it, which caused a rift in the neighbourhood as many felt the need to choose sides. So, as you could imagine, the Landgrab family are not the biggest fans of the Altos. Malcolm just wants to be a normal kid, but his mother wants to groom him to be a top businessman. Given that her time is usually spent working, Malcolm doesn't get much quality time with her. So, as a child, he is naturally closer to his father, Jeffrey. He likes classical music and the colour yellow. His traits are good, ambitious and bookworm. The Sims 3 had many additional neighbourhoods that came with the expansion packs, and ones that could be purchased on the online store. Although the base game neighbourhoods were set in the past, the other neighbourhoods were set at different periods of time. So child Malcolm could be found in Sunset Valley. However, the Sims 3 console world of Moonlit Bay showed us Malcolm Landgrab as an adult. He lives there with his wife Hannah Law and son Adrian. According to his bio, he moved there to extend the reach of the Landgrab family. He works in politics and has his eye on the mayor position. I'm a big fan of consistency, and I noticed that this version of Malcolm is not consistent with The Sims 1, given that Malcolm has two children with different names in the earlier games. However, it seems that Malcolm is fairly young in The Sims 3 with his already teenage son Adrian, whereas he appears much older in The Sims 1 with his two other children Mimi and Dudley. So it is possible that Adrian wasn't mentioned in The Sims 1 because he was significantly older than the other two and had moved on with his life. Then in Lunar Lakes we see another reference to the Landgrab family, although not directly for Malcolm. A member of his family, Christina Landgrab, a scientist, perhaps a distant cousin, helped populate the world of Lunar Lakes with several clones of herself who she raised as children. There is also reference to Malcolm's future relatives in the Into the Future world of Oasis Landing, and as usual, they're just as powerful as they ever were. They own most of the town and are quickly approaching a full takeover. The World of Adventures expansion suggests that Malcolm has some French heritage in him, since his ancestor Admiral Landgrab, the same sim referenced in The Sims 1, owned a mansion in Champs-les-Sims. You won't be surprised to know that once again there are many lots scattered around the neighbourhoods that are owned by the Landgrabs, including the Marine Science Facility in Bridgeport and Landgrab Industry Science Facility in Sunset Valley. The Sims Medieval also gave the nod to the Landgrab family, proving their wealth goes back years. There is a slight variation in name. They were called the Landergrabs back then, but going by the personality traits of being leaders and having a huge hunger for money, it's clear that the apples haven't fallen far from the tree. And finally, we got The Sims 4. This game is set on an alternative timeline, so nothing really matters at this point. Malcolm Landgrab is a teenager living with his parents, Nancy and Jeffrey. Jeffrey works in the secret agent career and Nancy works in the criminal career for some reason. No longer the businesswoman with a thirst to expand the Landgrab wealth that she once was. I wish there was more to say about Malcolm Landgrab in The Sims 4, but there really isn't. There is somewhat of a reference to his darker side, as he has the evil trait, but he is a teen, so he hasn't yet grown into the character we know him as. In 2018, a new Landgrab family was uploaded to the gallery, the OG Malcolm and Mom Landgrab, along with Malcolm's two original children, Mimi and Dudley Landgrab. There is another game that Malcolm is featured in, but this one you may find a little more disturbing. Malcolm Landgrab was also a character in The Sims Mobile. He wears a preppy outfit and lives on the biggest lot in the neighbourhood. Just a couple of observations though. 1, he doesn't look like Malcolm. He has brown hair and brown eyes. And 2, he lives in the neighbourhood with his wife. Nancy Landgrab, a woman who in all previous games is his mother. This sim was clearly supposed to be Jeffrey Landgrab, but for some reason was given the name Malcolm. I reckon they just made this sim, realised at the last minute that Malcolm was more of a recognised name for the wealthiest sim, so thought, fuck it, no one will notice. Well, I noticed, EA. I noticed. And there you have it. That is everything I know, at least, about Malcolm Landgrab. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you like it when I do little stories like this, then let me know who you would like to see a story for. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. You know I love it when you do that. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.